on Australia's business channel. This is Media Week.
Hello, welcome to the program. Ahead, the latest radio ratings as one key star re-signs and another resigns. Easy listening, we talk to the CEO of DMG Radio, Kathy O'Connor, about the Smooth FM success story 1 year on. And moves to ban betting promotions during TV sports broadcasts. What could be the impact on media revenues? But first, Seven's TV boss, Tim Warner, has been named CEO of Seven West Media to replace Don Volti on the 1st of July. It came as private equity giant KKR sold its 12% stake in Seven West, a decision it says was unrelated to the management change. Let's get the details. Our co-host James Manning, editor and publisher of Mediaweek, joins us. James, what a week. A very big announcement there coming from Seven West Media, the new CEO in Tim Warner. That was a little unexpected, wasn't it?
I guess so, but I mean, he was the obvious.
Now.
Yeah, he was the obvious candidate. I guess. Yeah, it was just maybe a matter of when. Don Volti had been doing a pretty good job. Only been there a year. Maybe he could have, gone on a bit longer. But the word from Seven this week. Look, he got in. He did what he wanted to do. He developed some of that management up to the next level. People we saw at that recent Investor Day. And he did all the cost cutting while managing to maintain that level of content that the audience has come to expect from the company.
How will Tim Warner go in other sectors outside of TV? Because obviously, his track record in TV is fantastic. So
sure.
What do you think?
He's a bit of a new chum, if you like, in magazines, so the digital world, the newspapers. But I mean, they've got a really excellent team of executives leading all those businesses. So that's his biggest asset there. They'll come to him, they'll report to him. He'll tell them, look, just carry on with what you're doing. He'll still be learning about all those other divisions, but he will have already picked up a whole lot. So I think they'll do pretty well there.
We heard, of course, from Tim Warner. He gave a teleconference on the day the news was announced. Let's have a little listen to what he says his priorities will be when he takes over as CEO of Seven West Media.
Well, our immediate priorities are pretty much as we have outlined at the recent Investor Day, and that is to continue the momentum that we've developed in the cost out program. It's no secret all media businesses are faced with challenges regarding costs at the moment. Even though we are performing very, very well, we're not immune to that. And we have our stated targets of 100 million out. We're well on the way to that. We've got to continue that momentum. But at the same time, we have to do that without sacrificing quality. And that goes not just for the television content, it goes to the content in the newspapers and the content in the magazines and across our online business as well. So broadly speaking, continuing the momentum we've got, that's the priority. In terms of other management changes, we have what I consider to be the best management team in the business. And I'm very honoured to be chosen to lead that management team. Other than what I've mentioned previously, I don't anticipate any further changes.
Yeah, because James, of course, the appointment of Tim Warner to this new role comes after a couple of years of executive movement. It started obviously with James Warburton leaving to take the 10 CEO role.
Yeah, and it was a bit of turmoil, really, wasn't there, in that management? But at the same time, Seven, the business was very stable through all that. Their revenue share didn't blink. That sort of pushed towards 40%. They've kept it just there or above in recent times. So while there was that sort of coming and going at the top there, David Leckie departing, the business still sort of ticked over nice. So I guess the one constant was Kerry Stokes, of course, being a firm hand on the tiller, if you like, and he's still going to be there too. There's sort of no indication yet that he wants to step back from the business at all.
Yeah, and Don Volti, of course, as well, taking on the role of deputy chairman too.
Absolutely,
so
yeah, he's going to stay on the board. Someone from KKR is going to stay on the board too through till close to the end of this year, so a bit of stability there. And then a job vacancy now for who'll take over from Tim Warner running the TV business there. Speculation that Kurt Burnett's probably the best placed person to take over that role, currently the Chief Sales and Digital Officer for the business.
All right, let's get the market reaction to this and the analysts too. We're joined now by IG market strategist Evan Lucas. Yeah, Evan, what did you think?
It's a very interesting situation with what we've seen with Seven West Media this week. I think the main thing that the markets have really concentrated on is the move from KKR to actually be shedding 12% of their entire holding out of Seven West Media. Did raise a lot of questions. It is quite a harmonious sort of ending to where they're at. It's been a 7-year tie-up. It's done quite well for KKR. They've made a reasonable amount return on that. Obviously, we just heard that they are retaining a board membership all the way through to November, so it isn't going to move them out quite that far. But it did see them have a 3% discount sellout on Tuesday night. It was a relatively large block trade. It dropped a fair way yesterday. We were down around about 17 cents, so almost 8% there. It's picked up a little bit this morning, but it is going to raise a couple of questions with regards to probably also Channel 9. Private equity is obviously propping them up quite heavily. You've got Apollo Management. You've also got Oak Tree Capital. It will be very interesting to see what there does. And the reason we ask those questions, advertising dollars remain strained here in Australia. Australian free-to-air TV still has to answer a couple of questions about how they're going to generate revenue. And the sellout of KKR, even though obviously it was an internal decision to look at the return, it did sort of raise questions and may put Seven West under a little bit more strain further.
There's also some rumours around reports that Kerry Stokes may have sold down some of his 10 stake. What do you make of this?
Yeah, and that's the other interesting thing that happened all at the same time. At the same night, we saw roughly around about 47 million shares, another block trade. It's about 1.5% of Chen's share registry also transferred hands on Tuesday night. Went out basically at market, so it wasn't too bad, but there is massive rumours that that big stake that Kerry Stokes has been building up over the last sort of 8 to 12 months is actually what was going through, dropping his 40 million stake in the company. 10 is one stock that we are quite concerned of. Out of all those big three major free-to-air TVs, 10 is still struggling with that advertising dollar. Its TV and eyes on screens remain strained, and it is absolutely banking on the coming winter with the Lions tour for the Wallabies. They've also just won the rights to the Olympics on a longer-term thing, but they're also having to remain on their Australian arm and their Australian eyes on screens. Offspring was the big one they're banking on. It came out last night. Numbers were okay. They weren't brilliant. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, you can understand why maybe, if it is actually the case, Kerry Stokes sold out. 10 remains fairly strained. They're back below 30 cents. And that, for us, is another reason why they'll probably be continued to under pressure. Most analysts still have them as a sell. They can't actually see a way through in the interim. And that's probably going to hurt 10 on the longer term.
Evan, thank you.
Thanks, Brady.
Let's return to our co-host James Manning from Media Week. We'll get some more from you on Offspring a little later in the program. Just turning to some of the other news this week, and of course the moves to potentially ban all live betting odds being promoted during sports broadcasts has been hitting the headlines. Of course, as we know, talk of more regulation perhaps. Will this hurt? How will this impact media revenues?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a bit of a hit to advertising revenues for sure, because the betting companies have been spending a lot of money trying to stake their stake in a market that's growing, stake their claim in that space, if you like. But I mean, advertisers have lost. You know, when cigarette advertising was gone, they had to find substitutes for that. So look, they will work out. There'll be ways that the gambling will have ways around that. They'll just maybe put the money in different time slots away from the live broadcast of the game. They certainly won't be disappearing off the TVs completely. So I think short term there'll be a bit of a hit, but I think longer term they'll be okay.
We heard Astra chairman Steve Bracks stepping down this week. What's going to happen? Who's going to replace him? Will it be another former premier? Yeah,
Astra seems to like former state premiers. We had Nick Greiner did it for about 4 or 5 years before Steve Bracks took it over. Astra have just said, look, we're going to throw the net quite wide, so they'll be sort of looking for candidates from all areas, if you like. But we've free-to-air TV have had a former chairman to Wayne Goss was a Queensland former state premier, so they do like those politicians. I guess Astra's keeping an eye on a change of government too. If you're going to have a Liberal government, then gee, should you be having a former Liberal premier or someone with ties to the Liberal Party would seem to make sense.
We will wait and see. National Director of The Australian is going to retire, John Webster.
Yeah, John Webster's stepping down. He's been a long time with News Limited in all parts of the company. Started, I think, as a sub on the Melbourne Herald a long time ago, back when there used to be evening newspapers, but he's done all facets of the business, so he'll be a bit of a loss to the company after all these years. Lots
of tech news for TV viewers this week. We've had Telstra come out talking about the increasing customer base for its T-Box.
Yeah, they really want to get some momentum there, get T-Box into more homes. There's sort of advertising campaign on this week, a new bundle that's going out advertising. I think like 11 Foxtel channels. If you sign up and you get your home internet, it's about $111 $7 a month, something like that. Gets you your broadband, your Foxtel channels, some of your home telephony, so they're doing a bit of a bundle for that. They realise they need to get some more high-profile programs on there, but at the same time they're saying they don't want to conflict with Foxtel, so they're seeing Foxtel's perhaps a content provider for getting some more content on that on that T-Box. Then Xbox, Microsoft this week's launched, I think it's called the Xbox One. There's going to be another way up. They'll be sort of pushing that as another alternative. You're getting more TV programs on that.
And we also saw Yahoo buy the blogging website Tumblr for $1.1 billion. Why? A lot have been questioning this purchase.
Yahoo certainly had their challenges in the US over the past few years. A lot of credibility around something like Tumblr, a lot of users. So, will help give a bit more edge maybe to the Yahoo brand in the US. I think that's basically what's behind that.
All right, plenty more to ask you about, James. We're going to take a quick break here on Media Week. Coming up, the latest radio ratings, plus DMG Radio CEO Kathy O'Connor joins us after Smooth FM's first birthday.